What's going on, my soccer people? Welcome on back to Box Soccer, the soccer show where I go over everything U.S. soccer, men's, women's, internationally, and domestically. And thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. And if you are coming back to my channel, you might have noticed that the background behind me is different from all my other previous interviews, and that is because I'm currently in the process of relocating, moving, starting a new job in a new city. And the past couple of weeks have been very hectic trying to sit down and finally edit these videos and trying to get everything settled in. So I ask for your forgiveness on not pushing these videos out quicker. And I appreciate all the love and support that you've been giving me on my channel, whether it's through the YouTubes, TikTok, Instagram, and all that. But I did manage to get a great interview before the moving process started with Charles Halt of Halt's Boots. You may know Charles Halt's or Halt's Boots from Instagram, TikTok, where he's got well over 80,000 followers on social media platforms. And this guy has this incredible business story where he just started selling soccer shoes and he has blown up these past couple of years. And I am just so excited for you to hear his story and all my questions about the business. As it was a really great conversation, and I hope you all enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it, please do give the video a like or even consider subscribing to keep up with my soccer content and push the soccer content out to people much like yourself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get the video started with Charles Halt and Halt's Boots. Charles, thank you so much for joining me today, man. Could you go ahead and give us a quick introduction of you and what Halt's Boots is?
Yeah, so my name's Charles Halt. I'm from Michigan. I run a reselling business, usually deals with cleats or football boots, depending on where you're from. Started about 3 years ago and kind of just snowballed into a bigger company than I ever thought. I do this full time. We're scattered all throughout, all the social medias, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. And we just sell cleats to high schoolers, college guys, amateurs, professional players, all sorts of players and people around the world, and mostly in the U.S., but the rest of the world as well.
Now, what was the original idea that kind of snuck into your head to say, I'm going to go ahead and try this out and just see how it goes? Was there anything in particular that crossed your mind that wanted to get you into this?
Yeah, so I was never really into cleats until I got to college. I just played at like a small D3 college and had a few pairs to get ready just to play. I knew I was going to be playing on turf, on wet grass, on regular grass, so I just kind of bought some metal studs, some turf cleats, and some regular cleats. And then I kind of just started to get a little bit more into it, start paying attention more to a lot of the releases. And then I started collecting the 11 Pro, which is a cleat from 2015 that I wore. And I just so happened to find one in 2018 and then just kind of continued collecting them. Bought a pair from a guy who also sold on Instagram. His name is Soccer Shoe Junkie, I think. And he told me I should sell cleats as well because I just showed him like the random collection I had. So it kind of just started with that and then turned into this. So
nice. Well, how did those first few sales, turn out? I'm sure, whenever you start something or anybody really starts a business, it's kind of like out of a hobby or just like, interest. And then, you get those first few sales or first few kind of videos or anything kind of rolling. So what was like trying to get that ball rolling? Was it, selling it to local high school kids or, guys that you played with before, or like what was the momentum getter for your business?
Yeah, so I think I started with 10 or 12 pairs. I started an Instagram account, kind of just started posting, didn't really get much traction. Sold on a couple of random apps like Mercari or something like that. Just had everything cross-listed, hoping to get someone to purchase the first pair. The pair I did sell was this, the first pair I sold was this rare pair of cleats I had. They were the Hypervenom 1 in like the liquid diamond colorway, which was Neymar's, one of his personal signature colorways. And I sold them for $150. And right now they retail anywhere from $450 to $800. So kind of kicking myself that I sold them, but I had to get started somewhere. So sold those and then slowly gained a little bit more traction. It was a lot more word of mouth, I would say, especially early days. Instagram is primarily where I do most of my content. I'm trying to get more consistent with everything, but it's always been Instagram first. And it was kind of just like somebody would finally purchase either through Instagram or somewhere else and be like, hey, please post this on your Instagram, spread the word. I'm trying to build this little Instagram page. And so it was slow at first, and like anything, and it just gradually got a little bigger and bigger. So
nice. Well, you're talking about your Instagram and how you try to be really consistent on that, but primarily I'm on TikTok, and you are a pretty huge soccer account, especially for a specific niche like cleats. I mean, well over 30,000.
yeah.
Would you consider TikTok being your main place now, especially with the way TikTok works versus a place like Instagram, or is it still mainly Instagram for you?
Right now, mainly for me, it's Instagram. That's where I'm able to engage most, I feel, with my clients. I have a lot of consistent clients and people I have a lot of conversations with. So a lot of it's still through there. TikTok for me is just more consistency, getting more consistent, figuring out what kind of content works. I definitely do think it's better for spreading awareness for free without having to run any sort of advertising. And lately I've been really trying to get back into it. So these past few days I've just been grinding, making content, and just trying to get back into the swing of things and get my account back up and going, because I didn't post for the last month, I think. So
now, what's it like trying to manage, the shoe selling and, the outreach of, your page or your business, while also trying to manage that? Because like you just said, you haven't posted it in about a month. Is it difficult? Or like, what's like the scale of operations whenever it comes to, doing the business and also trying to handle the marketing side of it too?
yeah, it's a full-time job for sure. Best full-time job I've ever had. It's pretty much a lot of everything. I've learned a lot. I know more about all the social media algorithms than I care to know. I'm getting into learning proper photography to make the account look better, make my website look better, learn how to film better. Editing everything is tough. Luckily, you're kind of able to get away with editing one video for 3 different platforms now with TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. So that's been really nice. Makes it a little easier, but it's still a hassle, I would say. Just if you get into a consistent schedule and you really start just every day doing the same things, it's easy. But the second you fall out of it, it's a nightmare trying to get back into it, at least for me. So
no, yeah, it's definitely a grind, I know whenever I'm done with this video, man, it's gonna be cut, edit, 1, 2, 3,
yeah,
send it out. Try to figure out the algorithm on how those those shorts and the reels work, man, because it can be tricky from like one to the other. But
for sure.
When was the kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do this full time? Because that's a big decision for like anybody, especially anyone that's got a full-time job already, or is trying to figure out life. Like, how did this like I'm making serious money doing this, I'm going to try to do this full time and commit to it to grow it more and more?
Yeah. So after my junior year of college, after my junior college season, I knew I was going to transfer. So I pretty much was done with the soccer team at that point. So I had a little bit of extra time. Before I transferred, started Halt's Boots on Instagram. That's right when COVID hit too. So all of COVID, I was just trying to grow Halt's Boots, and was lucky enough to be able to do that. And then transferred to my new college, was working through an internship, like a paid internship as a personal trainer at a YMCA and a couple of other just like side small jobs while doing Halt's Boots. And then I want to say it was like January or February of 2021, I found my first really good supplier for like a consistent amount of cleats. And then it kind of got to the point where I didn't have to go to work anymore. I could pay my rent. And then I, was able to reinvest and just keep on going from there. So that's kind of where I made the full switch. And then after that senior year at the new college, I just ended up dropping out and doing Halt's Boots full time. So
American dream, man. You're getting your own little business going. But
yeah.
You mentioned some point that was really curious for me is, if you're supplying shoes, obviously you have to have, somewhere to get all of them. And whenever I see your videos on TikTok, I'm like, man, this guy's got like the same pair of shoe, but like 20 times over. Like I don't know how on earth I would ever, like, what was that like, at first, was it just buying shoes that you saw online and then, you procuring them and then holding them and then selling them off to somebody else? Or did you have a supplier before? And, can you talk about your supplier now and how that works a little bit? Or can you go
I
into those
can
details?
I can do a little bit. Obviously, I can't say where or who I get them from, but it kind of at first was just the odd pair here and there. A lot of times people would DM me like, "Hey, I have something for sale." And a lot of times people just want to get rid of cleats, a little bit extra cash. So especially in the beginning of the page, it was selling used cleats a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the used cleat market, it's actually really big. A lot of people don't care that much as long as, they can wear them. So it's kind of a lot of just a pair here, a pair there, a random find. Websites or like Nike will do like crazy sales and you're able to get your hands on a few pairs. And then, so it was a lot more effort, I would say, than it is now in terms of finding suppliers and keeping them for long terms and in ways to get cleats. But I definitely have put my time in the last 3 years doing it to where it's like I did so much and now I'm here. So it's definitely nice now. I don't have to I still buy from people who DM me all the time. I'll still buy from them, or I'll still find an odd pair here and there that I'll definitely pick up. A lot of it now is just dealing with a couple of our main suppliers, I would say. So
Nice. Now, is there a time whenever somebody comes up to you and they have a shoe for sale that you're just kind of like, man, I'd really like to have that, or is it, but I can't, or is that usually never a problem anymore? You're like, man, they have like, for example, someone that I interviewed earlier said that they had the Neymar and Jordan collab cleats.
Yeah.
What something like that, whenever it crosses your mind, would you want to possibly buy some type of like rare collab shoe like that and hold on to it just for value sake, or would you buy something like that to hold it and sell? Or what's your kind of your preference on like shoes or types of stuff like that?
If it's a personal pair, maybe, especially these last 6 months, I've had a lot more capital that I've kind of started investing in my collection and really grown it, which it's kind of a two-parter because I use it for content, and then I also slowly I'm wearing more and more of them. It's kind of hard to wear 70 different pairs of cleats at once and whatnot. And I mean, I have 40 that I'm just wear all the time right now. I say all the time, but when I do. And so in terms of expensive cleats, like I'd say anything, like Neymar related, any sort of like Nike limited edition, Adidas really limited edition, I don't do too much with. The way our suppliers have been able to really hook us up is we're able to sell 50% below retail. So I try to keep prices at that unless it's like an older Nike model, an older Adidas model that's really sought after. So in terms of personally, I didn't really care for the Jordan Neymar collab. So that's not something I would ever pick up unless somebody just had them cheap and wanted to get rid of them in my size, then I might consider it. But I'm really weird when it comes to cleats. I'll pick up random ones and then I won't like a lot of the popular ones. So
now, speaking of shoes that you like or don't like, is there, a personal, preference on a brand that you would carry more than others? Just a quick look, you obviously carry a bunch of Adidas and a handful of Nike as well.
Yeah.
But is it mainly just to kind of stay within, that popular market? Like no one really, I say no one really, now that Pulisic is, a big Puma dude now, but no one really kind of ventures off into Puma that often, or, Diadora or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
So is there a favorite?
A lot of people really go for Nike and Adidas. Those are the main ones. I get some requests for Puma and occasionally Under Armour. The issue right now is Nike. It's been hard for us to get a consistent supplier. So that's why most of the time we're carrying Adidas because that's what we can get. And it's kind of just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so we've just got as much Adidas stuff as we can. I think we might have found a Puma supplier, hopefully. So we're going to hopefully bring some more Puma boots in. But mostly I'd say it's the popular brands. If there's, hopefully soon, I'm going to have reviews up on our YouTube page and start reviewing cleats. And a lot more of what I want to do is a mix of the new stuff, but a lot of the older stuff that's not really easily to get, as well as a lot of these smaller brands. There's tons of small, all over the world, of like small leather boot brands, and I really enjoy leather boots. I think that the synthetic stuff it's okay, but my favorite pairs that I own are all leather, and I just want to get more of those brands a bit of a reach or something like that. So
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I knew that there was a big problem, especially whenever Beckham first came over to the United States with his Predators, is that kangaroo leather was apparently like illegal back in the mid to 2000s. So, is that something that like is not really a thing anymore as far as like whenever it comes to like a leather pair of boots? Because I completely agree. Like leather feels so much better than the synthetic stuff,
Mhm.
but I've never really actually ever personally a leather boot, just seen them and felt them and tried them on before.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the K leather being banned. Honestly, it's kind of weird, but for me, I don't know much about cleats when it comes to anything before 2014, 2013. That's kind of when I started paying attention a little bit as a kid, but nothing
Mhm.
crazy. And now it's just there's so much to learn that I don't know anything about like the older Predators. I do know that most of them were leather, and those were really, even today, those sell for a ridiculous amount of money. But I know K leather is still banned. All leather products are banned in California still, so that's difficult when it comes to
That's what it
shipping
was,
leather and
California.
stuff to them. There is a couple brands, not a brand I won't name because I don't really like them, but they do offer a Cali version, which is cool because it still allows people to get their products because they're a leather company, a leather boot company, but obviously they can't ship to California, so they did a Cali version, which is some sort of vegan leather or something. So
Hmm.
um, I know, I think Nike still does K leather. A lot of their like takedown models or like the economic models will be like calfskin leather. So
Yeah.
they'll do like kangaroo leather was and is the leather that I wear for my favorite boot. So I still think it's the best so far. So
No, yeah, you can tell there's a good difference between synthetic and the K leather for sure. I wanted to ask you because you talked about your time playing and stuff like that. What were the boots that you preferred most whenever you were playing? Like, did you have a preference between whenever it came to Nike or Adidas, or were you just kind of like, hey, like these feel good?
yeah, I should go grab them. I forgot to pull them out before this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the boot I collect. It's called the Adidas 11 Pro 3.
Oh, wow. Is that
Yeah,
with the
so Cruz actually wears the 11 Pro 2, and he's been wearing them since 2013. And a lot of people, when they see this, like especially this colorway with the blue stripe and the white, they think it's his, but he wears the model that's even older, which is still a good boot, but the threes are my favorite. There's tons of colors of those as well, not just the white. So I have like I think black and yellow, orange and white, all sorts of them. I have all but two of the limited edition colorways. So I think I have the biggest collection of them as well in terms of personal collection. So um,
do you have a lot of people that come ringing for something like that often?
yeah, but I don't sell them to anybody. I don't. I've had a lot of pros who've gotten very upset that I won't sell it to them
Yeah.
because it's my favorite cleat, and I just really don't have a reason to sell. So I ask an absurd price because I know no one will pay it, and I get to keep my cleat. So
Might as well get to keep it.
yeah.
I got to ask you, you said that, your Nike supplier is difficult to come around, but how do you come across older shoes? Is it just, again, more people saying, like, hey, I'm selling a shoe? Or do you have people that are like, hey, like, are you like a broker? Like, can I get a specific shoe if you find it for me or anything like that?
So yeah, there's a mix of both. Sometimes for like the older cleats, I even the other day a couple people hit me up and sold me some of the like these older models, and some of it's that, some of it's our suppliers can get them, some of it's I know where to look, some of it I just can't say. I like a lot of what I built this on in the beginning, especially was sourcing cleats, so finding specific cleats, sizes, colors, anything like that, and I would say the first year and a half, almost 2 years, I sourced more than I sold my own stock, which to me didn't matter either way because I was still getting some money. It wasn't a lot with sourcing, but it was enough to, source a few pairs and then buy another pair to sell like for
Hmm.
stock. So, and I don't really source too much anymore because it just takes a lot of time. It's hard to look for some of this stuff, especially when
Hmm.
you're scouring the internet. Sometimes it could take days or even weeks. A lot of time for certain pros, I'll definitely put a lot of effort into it because I mean I like to keep the relationship with them, but a lot of times people just ask, hey, can you get this? And then you'll find it for them. And then they would be like, oh, well, I'll pay you, in a week. And then you never hear back from them. So it kind of discouraged it when it got to the point where I was making enough money to do this full time, where it's like, I don't need to source as much. So, which I still do occasionally, but it's really only when people are really serious about purchasing and whatnot. So.
Sometimes whenever you get old shoes or old cleats, I'm assuming that, the condition of the shoe really, really matters. But has there been a time whenever you get a shoe where you're like, man, this really isn't the condition that I wanted it to be in? And if you've gotten a shoe that bad before, have you repaired and sold shoes like that after the fact?
So no, I've gotten scammed a couple times just from buying from people, and it happens. Sometimes you just get screwed. I've never personally fixed a pair and sold it. I know a few people who do, and they always say, hey, we got these in this condition, we fixed them up, here they go. But yeah, most of the time when I'm buying stuff, it's brand new. Occasionally I'll buy something used for a really low price, and then I'll just flip it for a low price to kind of just get rid of it. I'm not one to really sit on inventory and wait for it to go up in price. I know it's kind of a strategy. I'm more of how cheap can we buy it for, and how cheap can we sell it for, just to keep everybody happy, gets people coming in, getting new like $250 cleats for $130, kind of works for everybody. I mean, there is a few pairs I'm sitting on that I'm kind of waiting either for like a pro to come by who wants them, or just a rainy day. Sometimes I'll keep really nice or really rare pairs just if I need content and I haven't prepped a few weeks ahead of time for content to be released. Like, okay, I need to get something out today. We can always like release this cleat or something like that. So
nice. I've got to ask again, my personal pair or some Nike 360s. When was the last time you've ever seen those shoes around? Or do they come around often?
I've seen a few. They're still out there. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Most of what's left now is the SG version with metal studs. And there's a lot of the 6 studs. So there's SG Pro, which is like a mix of the regular plastic and metal studs. And then there's the 6 stud pattern, which is just 6 metal studs, which I have a few 6 metal studs and I don't really enjoy them that much. I just feel like it's too little points of contact. Now, if you're looking for like a pair brand new in box with the FG sole plate, I've seen them go for $300 and I've seen them go for $600, $700, $800. So it just kind of depends. Like I personally have never worn a pair, and it's like it'd be cool to have a pair, but I never was around during that time. So for me, it's kind of like people really freak out about the original like Predator Manias and the stuff that Beckham wore. But personally, for me, I wasn't into soccer. I was only like 4 or 5 with American parents who don't even watch regular sports. So, so it's like they're definitely cool, and I've definitely heard nothing but great things. But I just never personally want a pair, but they're out there for sure still.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I see those type of Predators, go up for sale, and they hit easily like plus 400 sometimes, especially whenever the leather is like really authentic too. I mean, I've seen some ones that are torn up, or not really torn up, but like worn down, that still go for 400 just so people could wear them. But yeah, it's an iconic shoe for sure. Well, hey, I wanted to ask you one more time. You were talking about, you grew up relatively young whenever Beckham was around. Your parents don't really watch a lot of soccer. Could you reflect a little bit more on, what you think U.S. soccer is going to be like in 5 or 10 years? Maybe whenever you're finally, opening a, brick and mortar store somewhere where you live. Like, what do you think U.S. soccer is going to be like, in 2032?
For me, it's kind of hard to say. I'm not overly involved in any of like the coaching scene. I don't really know how coaching is developing. I have a lot of friends who are pretty high level coaches high level in terms of club, I would say, who coach a lot of there's Detroit City FC has a really good club program near me, and a lot of my friends coach for them. And I can say a lot of good things are coming out of that. I mean, DCFC's had a crazy first year in the USL. So I think as long as if they can keep a lot more homegrown talent, if they can find a way, I know it's like cliche, like people fall through the cracks, but I've played, all over the state of Michigan from, rec, college, I've played down in Ohio. Like I play semi-pro right now, nothing like crazy, but And there's just the amount of players I've seen who should be playing a lot higher is astronomical. And I'm not overly optimistic, I would say, especially with the fact that Greg Berhalter was named the head coach. I personally don't like him at all. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's a great human being, and this is coming from someone who's not a coach at all. So obviously it's very uninformed, but I don't think it will change much, to be honest. I think unless they can get more of the homegrown talent going, if they can get more of these homegrown clubs, more club systems, a lot more free to play, a lot less $7-8 grand a year, especially these MLS Next teams, which don't really matter. I think it'll get better. Like if they can keep it homegrown, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. The MLS Next is an interesting thing that's going on. It's not something that I totally agree with. I'd rather, the USL kind of route, get more popular
100%.
again. Just USL just reaches out to so many other pockets that MLS doesn't, and just the chance that they can grow through that. And then, if they want to jump to wherever they want to go, whether it's MLS or Europe, or doesn't matter. It's just, like you said, too many kids. It's a big country and it's spread out. And
yeah,
I completely agree with where you're coming from on that. Well, hey, I'm going to ask you one last thing. Obviously, USA is going to the World Cup, and they're playing in Group B with England, Iran, and Wales.
they are.
Does the United States make it out of the group?
If England didn't have such a bad international window, I would say no. But USA also had a really awful international window, so I have no clue. I honestly have no clue. I was gonna bet a lot this World Cup, but I don't think I'm gonna bet at all because I have no clue what's gonna happen with this group. At least England's either gonna top it, no problem, or they're gonna get third. I don't think they finish second. I think they either have a disaster or they go through. I think best case scenario, US beats Iran, ties England, and loses to Wales, I think was most likely what I would bet on if I was a betting man. And then we go through in second, barely.
Yeah,
And England will go through with a win against Wales and Iran, I think. So I would say US gets out second if we get lucky.
Yeah, win, draw, loss sounds about right for me too. But
against a win, draw, loss against who I don't know. Like it could go either way.
I mean, if we can put a win against England personally, that would be the, morally or like just mentally, just for everyone around the country, I'd feel like everyone would love that the most, right? And then draw Iran, Wales, maybe. I don't really care too much, but it's the first game, and it's a really important game, obviously. But either way, I just want us to escape the group. But hey, Charles, I appreciate the conversation. And dude, I've learned so much from this. I've never really figured how something like this really just kind of comes along. And I've seen like your profile on TikTok and others on Instagram, and the fact that you first interacted with me, I think, on a comment on a TikTok video a long time ago, and just saw more of your boxes and videos just popping up on my feed. Curiosity got the best of me, man, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are wanting to know exactly this type of stuff too. How does something like this just kind of come up? And it's pretty much, your own little startup. And I think a lot of people will probably enjoy, listening and hearing about your story on this, man. So I really do appreciate your time on this.
For sure, man.
Well, before I let you go, do you want to go ahead and plug your socials for anybody that was watching this?
Yeah. So Instagram is Halts_boots. TikTok is Halts Boots. YouTube is Halts Boots, but it's kind of just starting out. So I don't even know if you'll be able to find it yet, to be honest. And that's pretty much the only socials that really matter right now. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. Again, I'll go ahead and let you go for now. But again, thank you for your time. It was well appreciated. I'm so happy that we were finally able to work out a time frame to get this going. Right. But hey, thanks again, and I'll catch you around. All right.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, if you did like that video, please do give it a thumbs up, a like, subscribe to my channel, as it really does help me. And I apologize that this video took so much time for me to push out. Again, a lot of things happening. The next time you see me do an interview, the background might change again. But I appreciate your patience, your kindness, and all the love you've been giving me. It is very much appreciated. I hope to see you all very soon. You are loved, and thanks again for watching.